The galactic disaster, the vast expanse of space, held no comfort for Zira as she watched her homeworld, Vexor Prime, crumble beneath the onslaught of a cosmic disaster. The young Vexari scientist stood frozen on the bridge of her family's research vessel, her four eyes wide with horror as the planet's crust fractured like brittle glass. Massive fissures spewed molten core material into the atmosphere, painting the once blue skies an apocalyptic red. "Zira, we need to go now," her father, Kalo, shouted from the pilot's seat, his normally calm voice edged with panic. "The gravitational shifts are becoming too erratic. We'll be torn apart if we stay." Snapping out of her trance, Zira rushed to her station, her six-fingered hands flying over the control panels. Initiating emergency warp sequence, she reported, fighting to keep her voice steady. Coordinates set for the nearest habitable system. As the ship's engines hummed to life, Zira cast one last glance at the viewing screen. Billions of lives, an entire civilization, were being erased in a matter of hours. The Vexari, known throughout the galaxy for their scientific achievements and peaceful nature, had never imagined their end would come so swiftly and brutally. The research vessel shuddered as it entered warp space, leaving behind the dying screams of a planet. Zira slumped in her chair, exhaustion and grief washing over her in equal measure. Her mother, Lyra, moved to comfort her, wrapping her in a tight embrace with all four of her arms. "We couldn't save them," Zira whispered, her voice breaking. "All that knowledge, all those lives, gone." Kello's voice was somber as he engaged the autopilot. "We did what we could, little one. Now we must focus on survival and preserving what remains of our people's legacy." As if in cruel response to his words, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red warning lights bathed the bridge in an eerie glow, reminiscent of Vexor Prime's final moments. "What now?" Lyra exclaimed, rushing to her own station to assess the damage. Kalo's face paled as he read the diagnostics. "The warp core was damaged during our escape. We're leaking radiation and losing power fast. We need to drop out of warp immediately." With a sickening lurch, the ship returned to normal space. Stars streaked past the view screen as the vessel's momentum carried it forward. Zira felt a moment of hope as she spotted a nearby solar system, but it was quickly dashed as she realized they were moving in the wrong direction. "Can we alter course?" she asked, already knowing the answer. Kalo shook his head grimly. "No power to the maneuvering thrusters. We're on a ballistic trajectory now." Lyra's voice was tight with fear as she reported, "Life support is failing. We have maybe 2 hours of breathable air left." The Vexari family worked frantically to repair what they could, but it soon became clear that their situation was dire. Their ship, once a pinnacle of Vexari engineering, was now little more than a tomb drifting through the void. As the hours ticked by, Zira found herself at the communications array, broadcasting a desperate plea for help on all frequencies. "This is the Vexari research vessel Stargazer. We are survivors of a planetary disaster and in critical need of assistance. Our life support is failing, and we have no means of propulsion. To any ships in range, please respond." She repeated the message in every galactic language she knew, hoping against hope that someone would hear them. But as the minutes stretched into hours, only silence answered her calls. Zira refused to give up. Between messages, she pored over the ship's database, searching for any information on nearby civilizations that might be able to help. It was then that she stumbled upon an entry that caught her attention. "Earth," she murmured, her voice hoarse from hours of transmitting. "A developing world on the fringes of explored space. Technologically capable of interstellar travel, but not yet part of the Galactic Confederation." Kalo looked up from where he was attempting to coax more power from the failing engines. "Earth, I've heard rumors about them. A young species, barely a century into their space age. What about them?" Zira's eyes sparkled with a glimmer of hope. "They're the closest civilization to our current position, and according to this, they have a reputation for, what's the term? Sticking their noses where they don't belong. It seems they've intervened in situations that other species considered hopeless. Lyra frowned, her brow furrowing in concern. But they're not part of the Confederation. They might not even be monitoring the emergency frequencies. We have to try, Zira insisted. She adjusted the communications array, focusing the beam towards the coordinates listed for Earth. Taking a deep breath, she began a new transmission. To the people of Earth, this is a desperate call for help. We are the last survivors of a species on the brink of extinction. Our world is gone, our ship is failing, and we have nowhere else to turn. If you can hear us, if you have the means to reach us, please, we beg for your assistance. As Zira's message echoed into the void, the stargazer continued its aimless drift. The air grew thinner with each passing minute, and the temperature began to drop as life support systems shut down one by one. The Vexari family huddled together, drawing comfort from each other's presence as they faced the very real possibility that they would be the last of their kind. Zira couldn't help but think of all the wonders her people had achieved, the mysteries of the universe they had unraveled. Would it all be lost, forgotten in the vastness of space? Just as despair threatened to overwhelm them, a crackling sound came from the communications array. Zira's head snapped up, her heart's pounding as she rushed to the console. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Horizon." A clear voice spoke through the static. "We've received your distress call and are en route to your position. Hold on, Stargazer. Help is on the way." Tears of relief streamed down Zira's face as she relayed the message to her parents. Against all odds, someone had heard their plea. These humans, this young species from a distant world, were willing to risk themselves for complete strangers. As the last of the Stargazer's power flickered out, plunging the ship into darkness, Zira clung to that spark of hope. She didn't know what would happen next, what challenges they would face, or how they would rebuild their lives. But in that moment, she knew one thing with absolute certainty. Humanity had given them a chance at survival, and that was more than anyone else in the galaxy had offered. In the cold and silence of their dying ship, the last of the Vexari waited for their unexpected saviors, marveling at the cosmic twist of fate that had placed their lives in the hands of a species they had never met. The story of their rescue, and the profound impact it would have on galactic civilization, was only just beginning. A desperate call. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Earth vessel Horizon, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. The distress call from the alien ship Stargazer played on repeat, the strange, melodic voice of the alien caller tugging at her heart. "Commander Chen, what's our ETA?" Elena asked, turning to her first officer. Sarah Chen consulted her datapad. "At maximum warp, we'll reach the Stargazer's last known coordinates in approximately 4 hours, Captain." Elena nodded grimly. "That might be cutting it close. Dr. Patel, what can you tell us about these aliens?" "The Vexari, was it?" Dr. Amira Patel, the ship's xenobiologist, stepped forward. "The Vexari are an advanced species, Captain, known for their scientific achievements and peaceful nature, but they've always been rather reclusive. This is unprecedented." "Well, they're about to get a crash course in human hospitality," Elena said with a wry smile. "Ensign Kowalski, open a channel to Starfleet Command. They need to be informed of our situation." As the young ensign carried out her orders, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. Humanity had made contact with several alien species since achieving warp capability, but never under such dire circumstances. The face of Admiral Jameson appeared on the main view screen. "Captain Rodriguez, report." Elena straightened her uniform. "Admiral, we've received a distress call from a Vexari vessel. They claim to be survivors of some kind of planetary disaster. Their ship is failing, and they have no life support. We're en route to assist." The Admiral's bushy eyebrows shot up. "The Vexari. This is unexpected. Captain, you understand the delicacy of this situation. The Galactic Confederation has strict non-intervention policies when it comes to disasters of this scale. Elena felt her jaw tighten. With all due respect, Admiral, we can't just leave them to die. Isn't this exactly why we joined Starfleet? To explore, yes, but also to help those in need. Jameson sighed, running a hand through his gray hair. Your idealism does you credit, Captain, but be aware that this action could have far-reaching consequences. The Confederation might not look kindly on our involvement. Understood, sir, but I believe it's the right thing to do. The Admiral nodded slowly. Very well. Proceed with the rescue mission, but exercise extreme caution. We don't want to start an interstellar incident. Jameson out. As the view screen went dark, Elena turned to her crew. All right, people, let's make history. Meanwhile, light years away, the Galactic Confederation was in an uproar. The disaster on Vexor Prime had not gone unnoticed, and emergency sessions were being held to determine a course of action. In the Grand Assembly Hall of the Confederation's capital world, representatives from dozens of species argued vehemently. The Arcturian delegate, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, spoke with barely contained frustration. The Vexari were on the verge of a breakthrough in quantum entanglement technology. The loss of their research could set us back decades. We must mount a rescue mission immediately. The Xincha representative, a squat, amphibious creature, gurgled in disagreement. The risk is too great. The gravitational anomalies that destroyed Vexor Prime are still active in that sector. We cannot endanger more lives. As the debate raged on, a small rodent-like being scurried into the hall, clutching a datapad. It whispered urgently to the Confederation president, a wizened centaur with 4 arms and a shock of white hair. The president's eyes widened as he read the information. He raised all 4 of his hands, calling for silence. Esteemed colleagues, I have just received troubling news. It appears that a ship from Earth is responding to a distress call from Vexari survivors. A hush fell over the assembly, followed by a burst of agitated chatter. The Denibian ambassador, his crystalline form shimmering with agitation, spoke up. Earth, but they're not even members of the Confederation. They have no authority to intervene in this matter. Perhaps not, the president said thoughtfully, but they may have just changed the game entirely. Back on the horizon, Elena and her crew were making final preparations for their rescue mission. Dr. Patel had converted one of the cargo bays into a makeshift xenobiology lab, ready to receive and treat the Vexari survivors. Captain, Commander Chen called out, we're picking up multiple warp signatures converging on the Stargazer's location. It looks like ships from the Galactic Confederation. Elena felt a mix of relief and apprehension. It seems we're not the only ones answering the call. But why did it take them so long? As the horizon dropped out of warp, they were greeted by a staggering sight. The Stargazer, a sleek vessel despite its obvious damage, drifted lifelessly among the stars. Surrounding it were ships of various designs, some elegant and streamlined, others bulky and utilitarian. The Confederation had arrived. We're being hailed, Ensign Kowalski reported. On screen, Elena ordered, straightening her uniform. The face that appeared was unlike any Elena had seen before. The alien had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light, and a crown of delicate, antenna-like structures atop its head. This is Arbiter Zix of the Galactic Confederation. The alien spoke, its voice carrying a musical quality. Human vessel, you are in violation of Confederation space. State your purpose here immediately. Elena took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. Arbiter Zix, I am Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earthship Horizon. We are here in response to a distress call from the Vexari vessel Stargazer. Our intention is to render aid and save lives. Zix's 4 eyes blinked in unison. Your intention is noted, Captain. However, this is a Confederation matter. We will handle the situation from here. You are ordered to withdraw immediately. Elena felt her temper flare. With all due respect, Arbiter, we picked up that distress call hours ago. Where was the Confederation then? Those people are dying, and we have the means to help them. We're not going anywhere." A tense silence followed, broken only by the soft beeping of instruments on the horizon's bridge. Elena could feel the eyes of her crew upon her, a mix of pride and nervousness in their gazes. Finally, Arbiter Zix spoke again, its tone somewhat less imperious. "Your dedication is admirable, Captain, but you must understand the complexities of the situation. The gravitational anomalies that destroyed Vexor Prime are still active. Any rescue attempt carries significant risk." "We're aware of the risks," Elena replied firmly, "and we're willing to take them. Every moment we waste in discussion is a moment closer to losing those survivors. Let us help." There was a flurry of off-screen activity on Zix's end, hushed conversations in languages Elena's universal translator couldn't quite catch. When the Arbiter turned back to the screen, there was a new look in its 4 eyes, something akin to respect. "Very well, Captain Rodriguez. The Confederation will allow your intervention. But be warned, the consequences of your actions here today will resonate far beyond this rescue mission. You may have irrevocably altered the course of galactic politics." Elena allowed herself a small smile. "Sometimes, Arbiter, that's what it takes to do the right thing." Horizon out. As the view screen went dark, Elena turned to her crew. Their faces showed a mix of determination and excitement. This was what they had signed up for, the chance to make a difference on a cosmic scale. "All right, people," Elena said, her voice ringing with authority. "Let's show the galaxy what humanity is made of. Commander Chen, prepare a rescue team. Dr. Patel, stand by in the medical bay. Ensign Kowalski, keep us positioned between the Stargazer and those anomalies." As her crew sprang into action, Elena gazed out at the stars. In the vastness of space, against the backdrop of unimaginable destruction, a small group of humans was about to attempt the impossible. They would save lives, challenge the status quo, and perhaps change the fate of galaxies. The rescue of the Vexari was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in the history of both humanity and the cosmos. The human rescue. The void of space crackled with tension as the Earth vessel Horizon approached the crippled Vexari ship. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the view screen as the Stargazer grew larger, its sleek lines marred by scorch marks and debris. "Life signs?" Elena asked, her voice tight with anticipation. Dr. Amira Patel consulted her instruments, her brow furrowed in concentration. "3 very faint biosignatures, Captain. They're barely holding on." Elena nodded grimly. "Time to suit up. Commander Chen, you're with me. Dr. Patel, prepare the medical bay. Let's move, people." As Elena and Sarah Chen made their way to the airlock, donning their advanced EVA suits, the rest of the crew worked feverishly to establish a safe docking procedure. The Stargazer's failing systems and the lingering gravitational anomalies made this a perilous endeavor. "Captain," Ensign Kowalski's voice came through the comm, "we're detecting increased activity from the anomalies. The Confederation ships are pulling back." Elena felt a surge of frustration. "Noted, Ensign. Hold our position. We're not backing down now." As the airlock cycled open, Elena and Sarah found themselves face to face with the vastness of space. The Stargazer loomed before them, a dark silhouette against the star-studded backdrop. "Ready?" Elena asked, glancing at her first officer. Sarah nodded, her face set with determination behind her helmet visor. "Ready, Captain. Let's make history." With a push of their suit thrusters, the 2 women launched themselves towards the alien vessel. As they approached, the true extent of the damage became apparent. Huge gashes marred the hull, exposing the ship's inner workings to the vacuum of space. There, Sarah pointed, an emergency airlock, still intact. They maneuvered towards the airlock, using their suit's tools to bypass the dead security systems. With a hiss of equalizing pressure, they were inside. The interior of the Stargazer was a scene of eerie silence. Emergency lighting cast a dim, pulsing glow through the corridors, revealing toppled equipment and signs of a hasty evacuation. "Life signs are coming from the bridge," Alina said, consulting her suit's sensors. "This way." As they made their way through the ship, Alina couldn't help but marvel at the alien architecture. Despite the damage, the elegance of Vexari design was evident in every curve and line. They reached the bridge, the door sealed shut by emergency protocols. It took both of them, using their suits' enhanced strength, to force it open. The sight that greeted them was heart-wrenching. 3 alien figures lay motionless on the floor, their bodies intertwined as if seeking comfort in their final moments. Their skin, once shimmering with an inner light, now looked pale and dull. Elena approached cautiously, her suit's sensors confirming that these were indeed the Vexari survivors. She knelt beside them, activating her external speakers. "I am Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Horizon," she said softly. "We're here to help you." For a moment, there was no response. Then, slowly, one of the Vexari stirred. 4 eyes blinked open, focusing with difficulty on Elena's helmeted face. "You came," the alien whispered, its voice barely audible through Elena's suit sensors. "We did," Elena replied, her voice choked with emotion. "We're going to get you out of here. Can you tell me your name?" "Zira," the Vexari responded. "I am Zira. My parents. Are they?" Elena glanced at her tricorder, relief washing over her as she saw 2 more faint life signs. "They're alive, Zira. We're going to save all of you." As Elena and Sarah worked to stabilize the Vexari for transport, the Horizon suddenly shuddered violently. "Captain." Ensign Kowalski's panicked voice came through the comm. "The anomalies are intensifying. We're losing our holding pattern." Elena felt a surge of adrenaline. "Understood, Ensign. Prepare for immediate extraction. We're on our way." With practiced efficiency, Elena and Sarah secured the 3 Vexari in portable stasis pods. It was a risky move, given their unfamiliarity with Vexari physiology, but it was their only chance. As they made their way back to the airlock, dragging the stasis pods behind them, the Stargazer groaned and shuddered around them. Pieces of the ceiling began to fall, and the artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. "The ship's breaking up," Sarah shouted over the cacophony. They reached the airlock just as a massive tremor shook the vessel. The door behind them buckled and tore away, exposing them to the vacuum of space. "Go," Elena yelled, pushing Sarah and 2 of the stasis pods out of the airlock. She followed close behind with the 3rd pod, using her suit's thrusters to propel them towards the Horizon. Space around them seemed to twist and warp, the gravitational anomalies growing in strength and number. Debris from the disintegrating Stargazer flew past them, some pieces uncomfortably close. "Horizon, we need immediate extraction," Elena called out, her heart pounding as she saw a particularly large piece of debris heading their way. Just as it seemed the debris would hit them, a shimmering energy field enveloped Elena, Sarah, and the Vexari pods. The tractor beam of the Horizon pulled them in, moments before the Stargazer finally succumbed to the anomalies, breaking apart in a silent explosion. As they were pulled into the Horizon's cargo bay, Elena felt a mix of relief and exhilaration. They had done it. Against all odds, they had saved the last of the Vexari. The moment their feet touched the deck, medical teams swarmed around them, carefully opening the stasis pods and transferring the Vexari to gurneys. Dr. Patil approached, her face a mask of concentration as she scanned the aliens. "They're stable, but barely. We need to get them to the medical bay immediately." As the medical team rushed off with their patients, Elena turned to Sarah, both of them still in their EVA suits. They shared a look of exhausted triumph. "We did it, Sarah," Elena said, her voice filled with wonder. "We actually did it." Sarah nodded, a grin spreading across her face. "That we did, Captain. That we did." Their moment of celebration was short-lived, however, as Ensign Kowalski's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, we're being hailed by the Confederation fleet. And there's something else. You need to see this." Elena and Sarah hurried to the bridge, shedding their EVA suits along the way. As they arrived, Elena's eyes widened at the sight on the main view screen. The space where the Stargazer had been was now occupied by a swirling, iridescent vortex. The gravitational anomalies had coalesced into something new, something that defied their understanding of physics. "What is that?" Elena breathed, staring at the phenomenon. Before anyone could respond, the face of Arbiter Zix appeared on a secondary screen. The alien's 4 eyes were wide with a mixture of awe and fear. "Captain Rodriguez," Zix said, its voice trembling slightly, "it appears that your actions have set in motion events beyond our comprehension. That vortex, our scientists believe it to be a rupture in the fabric of space-time itself." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "A rupture? Is it dangerous?" Zix's antenna-like structures quivered. "We don't know. But what we do know is this. The fate of the galaxy may now rest in humanity's hands. Your rescue of the Vexari was just the beginning. The real challenge lies ahead." As the implications of Zix's words sank in, Elena looked around at her crew. Their faces showed a mix of fear, excitement, and determination. They had set out to save 3 lives and had instead stumbled upon a mystery that could reshape the cosmos. "Well," Elena said, straightening her uniform, "I guess we better get to work then. The galaxy isn't going to save itself." As the Horizon's engines hummed to life, preparing to face this new challenge, Elena couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, demonstrating courage, compassion, and ingenuity in the face of overwhelming odds. Whatever lay ahead, whatever cosmic mysteries awaited them, Elena knew one thing for certain: the human spirit, that indomitable force that had driven them to the stars, would see them through. The rescue was complete, but their journey, their true journey, was only just beginning. Aftermath and revelations. The medical bay of the Horizon hummed with activity as Dr. Amira Patel and her team worked tirelessly to stabilize their alien patients. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the observation window, her eyes fixed on the 3 Vexari lying on biobeds, surrounded by equipment that beeped and whirred in an alien rhythm. "How are they doing, Doctor?" Elena asked as Amira approached, looking exhausted but determined. "It's touch and go, Captain," Amira replied, running a hand through her disheveled hair. "Their physiology is fascinating. They seem to have a symbiotic relationship with some kind of bioluminescent microorganism. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." Elena nodded, her brow furrowed in concern. "But will they survive?" Amira's expression softened. "I believe so. They're responding well to treatment. The younger one, Zira, is showing the most improvement. She might regain consciousness soon." As if on cue, there was a flurry of movement from one of the biobeds. Zira's 4 eyes fluttered open, darting around in panic before focusing on Elena and Amira. Where am I?" Zira's melodic voice was weak but clear. Elena stepped forward, keeping her movements slow and non-threatening. "You're safe, Zira. You're aboard the Earth ship Horizon. We answered your distress call." Zira's antenna-like structures quivered as understanding dawned in her eyes. You're the humans. You saved us." "We did," Elena confirmed with a gentle smile. "Your parents are here too. They're still unconscious, but Dr. Patel believes they'll recover." Tears welled up in Zira's eyes, shimmering like liquid starlight. "Thank you. We thought we were the last. That no one would come." As Elena comforted the young Vexari, Commander Sarah Chen's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, you're needed on the bridge. The Confederation is requesting a full debriefing." Elena sighed, knowing that the political fallout from their rescue mission was just beginning. "I'm on my way. Zira, rest now. We'll talk more soon." On the bridge, Alina found herself face to face with not just Arbiter Zix, but a full panel of Confederation representatives on the view screen. Their alien faces were a study in conflicting emotions. Gratitude warred with concern, admiration with suspicion. Captain Rodriguez, Arbiter Zix began, its four eyes blinking in unison. While we commend your bravery in rescuing the Vexeri survivors, your actions have raised concerns among the Confederation Council. Elena straightened her shoulders, ready to defend her decisions. With all due respect, Arbiter, we did what any sentient being should do when faced with others in need. We helped. A reptilian being with iridescent scales leaned forward, its forked tongue flicking out as it spoke. Your help, admirable as it may be, has created a diplomatic quandary. The Vexari were not just any species. They were custodians of knowledge that could alter the balance of power in the galaxy. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. What kind of knowledge? The representatives exchanged glances before Zix responded. The Vexari were on the verge of a breakthrough in quantum entanglement technology. Their research could revolutionize faster than light travel, communication, even the nature of reality itself. And now, a crystalline being chimed in, its voice resonating like a struck bell. That knowledge rests with 3 survivors aboard your vessel. Survivors who owe their lives to humanity. The implications hung heavy in the air. Humanity, a relative newcomer to the galactic stage, now held the key to technology that could reshape civilization as they knew it. We didn't do this for political gain, Alina said firmly. We did it because it was the right thing to do. Arbiter Zix's antenna-like structures waved gently, as if in thought. Perhaps, but intentional or not, your actions have consequences. The balance of power in the Confederation is shifting. Some see humanity as heroes, others as a threat. Before Elena could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Ensign Kowalski's fingers flew across his console. Captain, the anomaly is expanding rapidly. It's creating some kind of spatial rift. All eyes turned to the view screen, where the swirling vortex that had formed after the Stargazer's destruction was growing, tendrils of energy reaching out like grasping fingers. By the cosmic core, one of the Confederation representatives gasped. It's a tear in the fabric of space-time. As if triggered by those words, the rift pulsed, sending out a shockwave that rocked the horizon and the nearby Confederation ships. Static filled the comm channels, and for a moment, chaos reigned. Aftermath and revelations. The medical bay of the horizon hummed with activity as Dr. Amira Patel and her team worked tirelessly to stabilize their alien patients. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood at the observation window, her eyes fixed on the 3 Vexeri lying on biobeds, surrounded by equipment that beeped and whirred in an alien rhythm. How are they doing, Doctor? Elena asked as Amira approached, looking exhausted but determined. It's touch and go, Captain, Amira replied, running a hand through her disheveled hair. Their physiology is fascinating. They seem to have a symbiotic relationship with some kind of bioluminescent microorganism. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Elena nodded, her brow furrowed in concern. But will they survive? Amira's expression softened. I believe so. They're responding well to treatment. The younger one, Zira, is showing the most improvement. She might regain consciousness soon. As if on cue, there was a flurry of movement from one of the biobeds. Zira's 4 eyes fluttered open, darting around in panic before focusing on Elena and Amira. Where am I? Zira's melodic voice was weak but clear. Elena stepped forward, keeping her movements slow and non-threatening. You're safe, Zira. You're aboard the Earth ship Horizon. We answered your distress call. Zira's antenna-like structures quivered as understanding dawned in her eyes. You're the humans. You saved us. We did, Elena confirmed with a gentle smile. Your parents are here too. They're still unconscious, but Dr. Patel believes they'll recover. Tears welled up in Zira's eyes, shimmering like liquid starlight. Thank you. We thought We thought we were the last, that no one would come. As Elena comforted the young Vexari, Commander Sarah Chen's voice came over the intercom. Captain, you're needed on the bridge. The Confederation is requesting a full debriefing. Elena sighed, knowing that the political fallout from their rescue mission was just beginning. I'm on my way. Zira, rest now. We'll talk more soon. On the bridge, Elena found herself face to face with not just Arbiter Zix, but a full panel of Confederation representatives on the view screen. Their alien faces were a study in conflicting emotions. Gratitude warred with concern, admiration with suspicion. Captain Rodriguez, Arbiter Zix began, its 4 eyes blinking in unison. While we commend your bravery in rescuing the Vexari survivors, your actions have raised concerns among the Confederation Council. Elena straightened her shoulders, ready to defend her decisions. With all due respect, Arbiter, we did what any sentient being should do when faced with others in need. We helped. A reptilian being with iridescent scales leaned forward, its forked tongue flicking out as it spoke. Your help, admirable as it may be, has created a diplomatic quandary. The Vexari were not just any species. They were custodians of knowledge that could alter the balance of power in the galaxy. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. What kind of knowledge? The representatives exchanged glances before Zix responded. The Vexari were on the verge of a breakthrough in quantum entanglement technology. Their research could revolutionize faster than light travel, communication, even the nature of reality itself. And now, a crystalline being chimed in, its voice resonating like a struck bell. That knowledge rests with 3 survivors aboard your vessel, survivors who owe their lives to humanity. The implications hung heavy in the air. Humanity, a relative newcomer to the galactic stage, now held the key to technology that could reshape civilization as they knew it. We didn't do this for political gain, Elena said firmly. We did it because it was the right thing to do. Arbiter Zix's antenna-like structures waved gently, as if in thought. Perhaps, but intentional or not, your actions have consequences. The balance of power in the Confederation is shifting. Some see humanity as heroes, others as a threat. Before Elena could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Ensign Kowalski's fingers flew across his console. Captain, the anomaly is expanding rapidly. It's creating some kind of spatial rift. All eyes turned to the view screen, where the swirling vortex that had formed after the Stargazer's destruction was growing, tendrils of energy reaching out like grasping fingers. By the cosmic core, one of the Confederation representatives gasped. It's a tear in the fabric of space-time. As if triggered by those words, the rift pulsed, sending out a shockwave that rocked the horizon and the nearby Confederation ships. Static filled the comm channels, and for a moment, chaos reigned. When the interference cleared, Elena's blood ran cold at the sight before her. Through the rift, they could see something. A glimpse of another reality, perhaps, or a window into the fundamental forces of the universe itself. Captain Rodriguez, Arbiter Zix's voice was filled with awe and fear. It appears that your rescue mission was more than just a humanitarian effort. You may have inadvertently triggered an event of cosmic significance. As the crew of the Horizon and the Confederation representatives stared in wonder at the rift, Dr. Patel's voice came urgently over the intercom. Captain, the Vexari, they're reacting to the anomaly. Their bioluminescence is off the charts. I think they're trying to communicate with it somehow. Elena's mind raced, trying to process the implications of everything that was happening. They had set out to save 3 lives and had instead stumbled upon a mystery that could unravel the very fabric of the universe. Arbiter, Elena said, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her mind. I think it's time we all put aside our political differences. Whatever this is, whatever's happening, I have a feeling we're going to need to work together to face it. There was a moment of tense silence before Zix nodded, its 4 eyes gleaming with a mix of resignation and determination. Agreed, Captain. It seems that humanity's first major act on the galactic stage may have been more pivotal than any of us could have imagined. As Elena gave orders to stabilize the ship and monitor the rift, she couldn't help but feel a sense of both trepidation and excitement. Humanity had wanted to prove itself to the galaxy, to show that they were ready to join the cosmic community. Well, they had certainly made an impression. Now they just had to figure out what to do with the cosmic can of worms they had inadvertently opened. The rescue of the Vexari was complete, but the true adventure, one that would challenge their understanding of the universe and their place in it, was only just beginning. As the rift pulsed with otherworldly energy and the Vexari survivors glowed in response, Elena realized that the line between savior and catalyst was blurrier than she had ever imagined. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and there was no turning back now. The cosmos held its breath, waiting to see what this young species would do next. A new alliance. The observation deck of the horizon was packed with an unprecedented gathering. Humans stood shoulder to shoulder with representatives from across the Galactic Confederation, all eyes fixed on the swirling cosmic rift that dominated the view outside. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the center, flanked by her senior staff and the 3 Vexari survivors. Zira, now fully recovered, gazed at the rift with a mixture of fear and fascination, her antenna-like structures quivering with barely contained energy. "It's calling to us," Zira whispered, her melodic voice carrying in the hushed room. "The knowledge of our ancestors, the secrets of the universe. They're all there, just beyond that threshold." Arbiter Zix stepped forward, its 4 eyes blinking rapidly. The Vexari have always been known for their deep connection to the cosmic fabric. But this is beyond anything we've ever encountered. Helena nodded, her mind racing with the implications. Over the past few days, as the rift had grown and stabilized, the true magnitude of their situation had become clear. The Vexari's quantum entanglement research, combined with the unique properties of their bioluminescent symbiotes, had somehow resonated with the gravitational anomalies that destroy their world. The result was a doorway to somewhere else. "We need to understand what we're dealing with," Elena said, addressing the assembled crowd. "But more than that, we need to decide how to proceed. This discovery could change everything." The crystalline being that had spoken during the earlier conference chimed in, its voice resonating through the room. "The potential benefits are enormous. Instantaneous travel across the galaxy, perhaps even to other dimensions. But the risks are equally enormous," finished Dr. Amira Patel. "We could be looking at the unraveling of space-time itself if we're not careful." A murmur ran through the crowd, a mix of excitement and apprehension. The galaxy stood on the brink of a new era, and the path forward was far from clear. Zira's parents, Kalo and Lyra, stepped forward. Kalo's voice was strong despite his recent ordeal. "We owe our lives to humanity's courage and compassion. Perhaps it is fitting that we now stand together at this cosmic crossroads." Elena felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. Humanity, the newcomers to the galactic stage, now found themselves at the center of a discovery that could reshape civilization itself. "I propose," Elena said, her voice carrying across the now silent room, "that we form a joint task force. Humans, Vexari, and representatives from all willing Confederation species. We'll pool our knowledge, our resources, and our unique perspectives to study this rift and determine the best way forward." Arbiter Zix's antenna-like structures waved thoughtfully. "An intriguing proposal, Captain. But how do we ensure that this power doesn't fall into the wrong hands? The temptation to use it for personal or political gain will be immense." Elena smiled, a glimmer of an idea forming in her mind. "By making it bigger than any one of us, we'll create an open forum, a galactic think tank dedicated to understanding and responsibly harnessing this discovery. No secrets, no hidden agendas. We'll face this new frontier together, as equals." The room erupted in discussion, species that had been at odds for centuries now finding common ground in the face of this cosmic mystery. Elena watched as alliances formed and barriers crumbled, a new spirit of cooperation taking hold. As the delegates debated and planned, Zira approached Elena, her four eyes shimmering with emotion. "You've given us more than just our lives, Captain. You've given us hope for the future. A chance to rebuild, to continue our work, but as part of something greater." Elena placed a hand gently on Zira's shoulder, marveling at the alien yet familiar warmth. "That's what humanity aspires to be, Zira. A force for good in the universe, a helping hand to those in need. We're far from perfect, but we're trying." Suddenly, the rift pulsed with a new intensity, bathing the observation deck in ethereal light. Zira gasped, her bioluminescence flaring in response. It's showing us something." All eyes turned to the rift, where ghostly images began to form. They saw glimpses of strange new worlds, of civilizations beyond imagination, of scientific marvels that defied their current understanding of physics. But more than that, they saw possibilities. Countless futures branching out before them, each one shaped by the choices they would make in the coming days and years. As the vision faded, a profound silence fell over the gathering. The magnitude of what they faced, the challenges and the opportunities, was clear to all. Arbiter Zix was the first to break the silence. "Captain Rodriguez, I believe I speak for the Confederation when I say, we accept your proposal. Let this be the dawn of a new era of galactic cooperation." Cheers erupted throughout the observation deck. Species that had once been bitter rivals now shook hands, or tentacles, or pincers, united in their shared sense of wonder and purpose. Elena felt a surge of pride, not just in humanity's role in these events, but in the collective spirit of discovery and collaboration that now filled the room. They had started with a simple rescue mission and ended up changing the course of galactic history. As the celebrations continued around her, Elena gazed out at the cosmic rift, its swirling energies a testament to the mysteries that still awaited them. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and they had done so not with conquest or domination, but with compassion and curiosity. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But as Elena looked around at the diverse gathering, humans, Vexari, and a myriad of Confederation species all working together, she knew that they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The cosmic lifeline they had extended to the Vexari had become something much greater, a bridge between worlds, cultures, and possibilities. As they stood on the brink of a new age of exploration and discovery, Elena couldn't help but feel that the true power of humanity, and indeed, of all sentient beings, lay not in technology or weapons, but in their capacity for empathy, cooperation, and hope. The rescue was complete, but the journey, the grand cosmic adventure that would reshape the galaxy, was just beginning. And humanity, once the newcomers, now stood ready to help guide the way forward, hand in hand with their new allies, into the vast, uncharted waters of the cosmic ocean. As the rift pulsed once more, as if in approval, Elena smiled. Whatever the future held, they would face it together. And that, she realized, was the greatest adventure of all.